smoking too, sipping and roasting. Yeah, that's what we do. Set 'em up, knock 'em down, make that cherry glow. Whiskey and cigars, the gentleman's cologne.
Cheers, y'all. Well. Now that sounds like a party just about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh.
That sounds like a party just about to begin, doesn't it?
That's what I'm talking about.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, this whatever this is, this
don't mind if I
podcast,
do.
radio program, and video extravaganza, internationally known
Hi, Mom.
as the world famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Welcome to the show. It's show number 424 of our program. It's all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And the title of this show is Our Guest Didn't Show Up. So I'm not going to call him out by name, mostly because I don't remember his name. But we had a podcast dude who has his own spirits and wine and food, I think, podcast.
There was apparently a miscommunication.
Yeah. Meaning that he blew us off. We won't be promoting his podcast, which, kind of a bummer for him, I think, because I believe he's up to like 4 listeners now. And so that would have been, it could have been a nice little boost, But, we're all about that. We like to help other shows, and there's certainly other shows that have helped us. So we're in that game. But you got to actually show up to make that happen. That's kind of the thing. So anyway, welcome. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about, including on today's show, bucket list U.S. breweries to visit. Now, I know you're a guy that loves visiting, new and different breweries that you haven't been to before.
This is true. I like to explore.
Yeah.
I like adventure.
And I particularly like to explore when the place that I'm going, when I get there, they have taps.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite.
Yes.
It's like, if you're playing a video, they need to make a video game called Brewery Exploration. And you go through, you do all the puzzles, and if you get them all right, you get to the brewery and there's taps. I like
to go to new and exotic places and meet new and exotic people and drink their beer.
I absolutely love it. Also, want to just mention that I'm dealing with a little bit of a head cold. I don't know if my voice sounds funny or not, but when
it's a little more Casey Kasem today.
When tasting beers, we'll try to figure out just exactly what the notes are.
Damn uncanny. That's good. Yeah.
Wait till I go into the rant about the dog dying. I think I don't know. I know people in radio have all heard that. I don't know if the general public has heard that, but if you are bored, just Google Casey Kasem dog dying, and you'll run across audio you can listen to.
Thank you, Internet.
Of Casey Kasem just going off. He's recording American Top 40, and he just gets really upset about the particular long-distance dedication that he has to do.
It's his Bill O'Reilly moment.
It's a beautiful...
We'll just do it live.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Anyway, so because I have a little bit of a head cold, this is you guys' chance to completely take advantage of me, because I'll just be agreeing with whatever you guys taste in the beers. So if you go, it's almost like caramelized boysenberry, I'll be like, yeah, I get that. I got that same note.
So this worries me just a little bit, Ian, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he brought the bomb today.
That's right.
And he said that.
I brought the bomb, and it's probably going to taste pretty good to me, or at least not bad, because I won't be able to really.
Know.
Yeah, I won't be able to really taste
Cruz likes everything.
Yeah, that's right. We've been accused of liking everything on the show, and today I may actually fit that definition pretty well. We have some interesting things to taste, including the bomb, the beverage of mystery, which we'll get to here in a moment. Also be tasting some beers, or they will be, and I'll be agreeing with them, from Structures Brewing in Bellinghamn, Washington. We'll be trying there, and they really got super creative with this name. They called it Pilsner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be trying their Pilsner from Structures Brewing in Bellingham, Washington. From Broussard, Louisiana, and Parish Brewing Company, which we've mentioned is one of our favorites.
Good.
They have a new double IPA called Supernova. It's the first IPA they put out in a while that they didn't group under the Ghost in the machine grouping. So it'll be
this is
interesting.
not a hazy?
It's not a Ghost. It might be hazy. It's a double IPA. We'll see when we get there. I offer no non-hazy guarantees until the beer is cracked. And then from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I think this may be the second beer we've done from Aslin Beer Company, not Aslan like the
not the lion,
the lion, right? But Aslin, Aslin. Aslin Beer Company will be trying their Imperial Stout, and they also got real creative. They just called it Clifton. Clifton is their Imperial Stout from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I am known by some.
That's right. Then we'll be trying a spirit from Mexico. It's a tequila anejo called Bayo, or Bayo, Bayo. There's the tequila, and it's
okay by me if it's okay by
yeah.
Thanks, Justin Wilson.
When I first picked it up, I thought it was Boyo. Like, I love when you hear somebody use that because I've never, like in movies or something,
Boyo.
because I've never heard anybody actually say it in real life.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody go, "Hey, looking good today, Boyo."
I was in Liberty, Texas one day, and I remember this day as significant because
you were in Liberty, Texas.
Well, my mom lives in Liberty, so that's I got to go out there once in a while. But I ran into a friend of mine's dad at the store, and the word cattywampus came out.
Oh, I love that word.
And then completely unrelated, talking to another person later that day, the word cattywampus came out.
You mean like two unrelated cattywampuses?
Two completely unrelated cattywampuses in one day.
Is it actually called a cattywampi if it's plural? It's plural?
That sounds like something my grandmother would say. And she was from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's maybe more, that area or what. But
So
cattywampus is,
having been in radio, I've lived all over the country, different states, different cities, when I was pursuing my radio career. And I always got a kick out of going into different places and picking up on the phrases that were kind of unique to that place. Yeah. But then sometimes, like, I'd go to a place and I'd hear something for the first time that I'd heard it, and then before I knew it, it was everywhere. And one of those is the expression "back in the day." I never heard "back in the day" until I moved to Boston. Then everybody says, "Well, back in the day," and then
I'm not a kid anymore.
And then I noticed like everybody says it everywhere. Maybe I don't know. I led a sheltered life when I was young, so perhaps that's it. But there are those unique phrases, and the best, by the way, are in Louisiana. Those are the best. Yeah, I remember having moved to New Orleans a number of years ago and trying to get used to all the different ways that they say things there. Because when you're on the radio, you don't want to sound like you're a foreigner, like from somewhere else. So you want to kind of learn the language. And I had to learn that they call, in Louisiana, when you have a lane of traffic on one side and a lane of traffic on the other side.
That style of road is called an avenue.
And then in the middle, there's like a grassy area, right?
Okay.
Now,
or is it a boulevard?
In most states that I've lived in, you would refer to that as the median.
Median.
Right. But it's not the median in Louisiana. In Louisiana, they call it the neutral ground.
The neutral ground.
And I'm like, what are there Klingons there?
Yeah,
like, what is that? But that's just one example of the different ways that people, explain things. I don't know how we got off onto this tangent, but you know what people love to explain? Beverages that they don't know what they are. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Beverage of Mystery. Beverage Mystery is a segment we do on the show where one of us will bring in a beverage of some sort, usually alcoholic, not always, but most of the time. Sometimes it's a seltzer or a canned cocktail, or it's even been a beer. It's even been some interesting spirits at times. The only person who knows what it is the person what brung it. I brung it, and so I'm the only person privy, but we'll taste and we'll see what we find.
Very grapefruit. Very grapefruit.
This smells like grapefruit and socks.
It's you know when they were putting it together, they were like, okay, we wanted the grapefruit, we got the grapefruit.
It needs a little something.
It needs a little sock.
It needs a little sock.
And I ain't talking
What is
about
it missing?
We need to tamp that grapefruit down a little. What can we
It's
use?
too much grapefruit. Try a sock.
Stick a sock in it.
Sock is known to neutralize grapefruit.
Okay, so I don't have high expectations now going into the grapefruit and
I mean,
sock.
the grapefruit
drink,
is
but-
strong in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly just got grapefruit. Now I'm smelling sock.
Oh, see, if you hadn't said that, I probably would have gone, yeah, it's grapefruit and now all I can think of is sock. Grapefruit and sock.
I told you when I joined that this show, I love the way that y'all can choose any word to describe something. You know,
Well, this may be a best example of that.
This is a little bit like when you stop your washer load
Oh, man.
before the rinse thing, and somebody puts a grapefruit in it.
That has actually happened to you?
This is
This is what I'm imagining.
Oh,
it
okay.
tastes like.
All right,
I
good.
don't have any actual experience, no practical experience, just
Okay, so-
theoretical.
So watered down grapefruit is
Yeah.
what I get. There's a little bit of carbonation, but it looks like more carbonation than you actually get in the mouthfeel, I think. So,
yes, I agree.
but yeah, it is kind of a watered down, sort of a leaky grapefruit.
Yeah, it's like
That's not a
grapefruit
good
wash water.
That's not a good mental image either. Leaky grapefruit. Is that- what happened at
has
the
a
groceries?
lot
We had a
less-
leaky grapefruit.
It's not even terribly sweet either. It's more of a savory sock. The
The kind your dog likes.
Oh man!
it's been marinating in the laundry basket for a while.
The kind that can work like they're an anti-plug-in. You know how you do a plug-in and it scents the whole room with the plug-in. Yeah. Sometimes a sock
So,
can do the same thing except in the opposite
the other
direction.
way.
So, to its credit, the fake sweetener aftertaste is actually kind of minimal.
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
true. I'll give you that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's there's
more
a
like
tiny
sock.
bit there, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's amazing what sock can hide.
I wonder. I'm kind of wondering if I would like the
Sock is a
aftertaste more
neutralizer.
than the sock. That's kind of what I'm beginning to think. Well, Ian, you have a question for me, sir?
Is that a mystery beverage in your pocket? A beverage of mystery, or are you just happy to be here?
Well, I'm happy to be here, and I also kind of crushed the can. So we are drinking the Deep Eddy Ruby Red Vodka and Soda.
Okay.
So I will say Ruby Red Grapefruit Vodka. I'm not much into mini flavored vodkas, but that's one of the
a
really
great
good
mixer.
ones.
Yes,
Yeah, it
it's
really
a great
is.
mixer.
It really is. It's great if you're trying to make, different kinds of
It
cocktails.
doesn't have any sock in it.
It does.
No, there's zero sock in the Deep Eddy Grapefruit. But somehow when maybe they used sock vodka. Maybe is there such a thing? Distilled through your socks
steep
5
it.
times.
They
5
steep
times.
it in
Yeah.
socks.
I don't know. It's crafted with real grapefruit juice. We know that.
I mean, it's not.
It's got certified colors too.
Well, it's you wouldn't want the colors to be uncertified. That's important.
I will give them. It doesn't seem too artificial. I mean, if you're not going to say sock is an artificial flavor, then I will say the whole thing is not too artificial. There's not a lot of artificial
I
sweetener,
agree.
a lot of artificialness. in
It tastes like real grapefruit and real sock.
there. and real sock.
Real sock.
yeah, and that's important because nobody wants an artificial sock.
Artificial sock flavors.
We're keeping it real here. No
Yeah,
artificial socks
exactly.
It says,
involved.
"Please day drink responsibly." I guess at
Does
night
it
you're.
say day drink
It
actually
says,
on it?
"Please day drink responsibly." I
Oh,
guess
well.
at night you're kind of on your
night
own.
you're
Yeah,
fine.
well, and actually, they knew what we'd be doing today,
Yeah,
so that's kind of the way it works. All right, speaking of day drinking, we got a lot of that to do coming up. Plus, we will bring you the the drinking news and the drinking fact. We'll tell you a little bit about those coming up. We'll find out what Ian had to smoke this week, and we'll tell you about some cigars
Some of
to
these
watch for.
peanuts to get the sock
'cause there's-
flavor out of my mouth.
There's interesting stuff coming out. And this may be the end of the sock portion of the program. We'll be right back at Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back, my friends. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Speaking of craft beer, our show beer sponsor for this month is No Label Brewing from Katy, Texas. We had those guys on the show here not too long ago, and they brought in some wonderful beers. And I'm enjoying their West Coast IPA called Cali Boy.
I'm having the hard hats.
And six packs. Yeah, that's a wonderful rice lager.
It's really good.
I really like it. It's very crisp and easy to drink. Those guys have got it going on, and they are doing a great job in the greater Houston area of getting distribution into grocery stores and
Look,
stuff.
when you're stuck in traffic and you're out by the Katy Mills Mall, just look it up and take a small detour. It'll take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
And it's way more fun than the Katy Mills Mall.
It's way more fun than the traffic.
Or you can let your wife go to the Katy Mills Mall, and she can come back and pick you up at No Label.
You know what I love about Katy Mills Mall is it's owned by the same people. They own 2 malls here in Houston. Can you guess what the other mall is?
Gulfgate?
You would think.
Yeah.
No, the Galleria.
Oh, really?
Oh, my
The
gosh.
same people that own the Galleria own the Katy Mills Mall, and that's it. Simon Malls, and they own 2 malls here, and they could not be farther from different.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll go to the Katy Mills Mall, but Galleria, like any place where I go and like I can't really afford to park, I figure I can't afford to buy anything there either. You know? So it's like, it's okay. Yeah, I get it. I totally
One has Tiffany's
get it.
in it. The other one has like a dollar store.
Yeah, right. Hey, Dollar Tree. Yeah.
You know, when you pull up to a mall and you see a Burlington coat factory in the mall, you're like, oh, the mall's not going to be very good.
Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars, and occasionally malls.
Or fishing tackle store.
Right. That's right. The fishing tackle store.
Oh, yeah, there is one there.
It's called Bait and Stuff. I love that store. All right. We're going to be bringing you Ian's cigar review here in a moment. But first, let me give you our teasers for both the Drinking Fact and for Drinking News. Our Drinking News teaser headline is... What did you do to piss off the dog? Drinking News will bring you in the second hour of the program. That's where we bring you a story from the news that is, most likely true because it's at least been reported. And we will bring you that and talk about it. And it's usually some stupid criminal thing. Our Drinking Fact is where we bring you an actual fact about drinking. And we have a teaser for that as well. So our Drinking Fact teaser is... I didn't get a paycheck, but I'm too drunk to notice.
I think I'm going to change the Drinking Fact music. It's going to be... No, not gonna.
I kind of like that on the ukulele.
Yeah,
though.
that's great.
I was damn impressed. So we'll tell you about some cigars to watch for, but Ian may tell you about a cigar that he had this week, and I think it might be...
I will tell you all about the cigar that I sat
I
on my
enjoy
patio.
hearing you talk about cigars.
So you look up in the picture right here, you're going to see one Stallone Nino. This is 6 1/4 by 48 ring gauge.
I really like Stallone cigars, I have to
They're
say.
so good. The broadleaf is one that I go to all the time.
Yep.
So this is a Sumatra Habano hybrid wrapper with Nicaraguan Corojo binder and a 7-year aged barrel oak Ometepe and Nicaragua filler. There were only 250 boxes of this made.
Nice.
I picked up 2 of these. The appearance...
Two boxes or 2 cigars?
No, just 2 cigars.
Okay.
I wish. Let me tell you about this first, and you'll realize why I wish I had a box. The appearance on these, gentle brown wrapper, smooth, very few veins, oily sheen to the whole thing, smooth to the touch, very firm feel overall. Stallone band, cedar footer with Nino printed in the vertical letters on there. The pre-light sniff on this, sweet and nutty, cedar and woody. The pre-light draw used a V-cut, had a very easy draw, light creamy coffee and sweet cashew-like nuttiness. The initial light on this, mouthfuls of sweet, nutty, and toasty smoke. White pepper notes add a bit of spice. Retro Hills, creamy and sweet with a hint of pepper. First third on this, medium strength with massive flavor. Sweet and creamy and nutty and cedar and a kiss of salted caramel. Wisps of leather on the lips and on the tip of the tongue. The Retro Hill is sweet and creamy with cedar, toast, and a kiss of white pepper. Solid ash, perfect burn. Proposed pairing on this, I was drinking a St. Arnold Springbok with it.
Oh, nice.
And it was
Those are
so
out.
good together.
Yeah.
And then I decided to try it with a whiskey, and Buffalo Trace won the
whiskey sniff. Nice.
So
I love
Buffalo
that.
Trace and which also goes good with the Bach.
Nice.
So a bit of powdered sugar sneaks into the toasty notes and balances with the white pepper, like with perfect precision, lending a snickerdoodle-like character to the aftertaste on this cigar. Retrohale is sweet and salty caramel with a kiss of white pepper. Solid ash, perfect burn. The last third of this cigar, leather and salted caramel linger on the lips and tongue. Medium strength with massive flavor to the end. I said it again.
Nice.
Retrohale is sweet and creamy with a kiss of white pepper, salt, solid ash, perfect burn. This cigar comes in at $12.50. I'm giving it a 6.
Nice.
This cigar was so fantastic. It smoked so well that I would have paid $15 for this cigar and not batted an eye.
You'd have been totally happy at that price.
Don't tell Tony about that.
Yeah, no.
Because I want this cigar to stay this price if he re-releases it.
And I just want to mention, I've had maybe 5 different cigars from the Stallone line. Every one of them has been outstanding.
I'm going to reach out to him and see if he can come back on the show.
We've had him on before. Yeah, he is magic. There's something going on there, and we need to find out exactly what that is.
Alien voodoo.
All right, a lot to come on the program. We'll be tasting the appropriately named Pilsner from Structures Brewing in our next segment. Plus, I'll tell you about my cigar to report on this week, and we'll get to our drinking fact all coming up. It's Smoking and Toasted. Welcome back, my friends. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We found out about your cigar in that last segment, and it sounds
my cigar
like it was
fantastic.
Wonderful. I'll tell you about mine coming up, but first it's time to let Terry come on the microphone and introduce our drinking fact segment. This is where we bring you a fact that's actually true about drinking. Go for it, Terry.
And now it's time for another Smoking and Toasting Drinking Fact.
You know, as great a job as Terry does on that with the echo and all that, that's not why I love the segment. I love the segment for that fanfare.
The fanfare.
Yeah.
I think I just figured out something.
Oh.
I have to play along with it.
You can play along with the fanfare. Well, we'll give you a chance to do that here in a moment. Our drinking fact for show number 424, archaeologists have found evidence that suggests that the workers who built the Great Pyramids of Giza were paid in beer.
Wow.
How else do you think they convinced them to drag those super heavy rocks all the way up the side of that structure?
This just proves the point. I've always said it, and I'll say it again. Beer good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and if beer was not good,
Yeah.
then they wouldn't have lifted those stones.
That's a pretty good point. And look at what a huge contribution to society and to history the pyramids of Giza wound up being, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's so amazing that I think the only way we can celebrate it appropriately is with a fanfare. I thought you were going to play along.
Well, I only caught like the last few notes because I had no idea when he was going to start it.
Oh, well.
That's why bands go 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think the only way to celebrate this appropriately is with a fanfare and a 1 and a 2 and a...
Oh, wait, what did it fade out?
But you had it. You had it. I'm
That's
telling
okay.
you.
I had your back.
Yeah, you were good.
That's all good.
We needed it that time.
I absolutely love it. Oh, man. What happened with this show? Did we turn a corner
It's
somewhere?
off the rails. By the way, your nuts are salty and delicious.
Yeah, well, I've heard that before. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the cigar that I enjoyed this week. I enjoyed a JFR Maduro Titan. JFR, which stands for... That was a dramatic pause, so you could do that.
Yes, thank you.
JFR stands for Just for Retail. It's produced by Aganor Salif. The JFR Maduro Titan, nice looking, little larger ring gauge than I usually smoke, but not ridiculous. The Titan's a 6x60, firmly packed, but still very light in the hand, with a nice looking San Andres Maduro wrapper. You can see that here. That wrapper covers Nicaraguan binder and filler, and was blended and rolled in Nicaragua as well at Tabacalera Tropical, where they roll the Ilusiones brand, which I know is a favorite of yours.
The MJ12 is so good.
Yeah. Not too much on the pre-light sniff and the cold draw. A hint of oak and earth were the only notes that I really was able to detect, which surprised me a little bit and made me wonder if the cigar was maybe going to be a bit lighter in flavor than the appearance would suggest. But once I lit it up, boom. Here came the notes. They arrived in the form of a manageable but definitely noticeable Nicaraguan pepper blast.
Oh, I didn't even have it in my hand.
I was hoping I could get all the way past it without
You got me, man.
singing the NPB song. So
I was totally unprepared.
the Nicaraguan pepper blast, or as we like to call it, the NPB, actually calmed down rather quickly but left a core note of pepper on the tongue and in the retrohale. I also picked up earth and toasted almonds from the Titan, and I was immediately happy with the complexity and the flavor blends on this cigar. Second, third, oak and chocolate joined the party and brought along a slight sweetness that seemed to make all of the flavors work really well together. The flavor blends morphed and shifted as I smoked it, changing the primary note from white pepper to oak, then earth, then pepper again, and the sweetness stayed on the palate, making the full-bodied strength of the cigar seem a little bit lighter overall.
I love when cigars, when the
Kind of
flavors
shift and change like that?
around a little bit like that to keep the interest up.
Final third was coffee, dark chocolate, pepper, and a hint of nutmeg. Very nice flavor profile all the way through, keeping me busy trying to identify all the notes. Very rich and satisfying, and a nice slow smoke. By the way, I smoked this before I got the head cold, so I actually did detect these things.
These are real flavors.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd just be making this stuff up. It'd be like, yeah, I got a bit of Zanzibar sarsaparilla in there. Construction and draw were excellent. This cigar was meticulously crafted, and it showed in the very straight burn line and the nice easy draw, as well as the long ash that held on for quite a while. What's interesting about the JFR line is that they're actually considered to be the value line of Aganorsa Leaf cigars. Now, they're not El Cheapos, but they aren't as expensive as some of the other some of the other brands. I can tell you that value in this case is a good thing. It means you get quite a cigar for your buck, and not value in the sense of, hi, we're McDonald's and here's the smallest burgers that we can sell you on the cheap. Not only is it
Also, paper. The filler's not made by 3M.
Right, exactly. Not only is it an hour and a half smoke, but the larger size and reasonable price made it one that I need to keep in my humidor on the regular. Suggested pairing, a nice hearty 512 porter. Trust me on this one.
Nice.
Overall, really great cigar. You can get it for $9 to $10 per stick. And you can get them closer to 9 if you buy a box, but it is a box of 50. So maybe try a single first to make sure you like it as much as I did.
That's probably the part of the way, because it's just for retail, right?
Right.
So that's part of the way they keep the price down is they're not making. They're making a third less boxes.
Right. And they're probably figuring, we may not sell a whole bunch of boxes of these. These are designed to be kind of an individual cigar sale.
I pick up their Asylum series pretty often. Sometimes they're Lunatic when I need.
Lunatic's great.
When I want a cigar that's going to go for like 3 hours.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, this one was an hour and a half, and price to quality, I would say a solid 6 for this baby.
Nice. 2 6s today.
2 6s today. So, this
our price to quality scale, just so you know, is it's based on a 1 to 10 are the numbers, and if you get a 5, you get exactly what you're paying for. So if you get a little more than a 5,
six means really good. Yeah.
Right. You're punching a little above your weight class. If you get a little lower than 5, doesn't mean it's a bad cigar. It just means that maybe it's not worth the price.
Right. Exactly. Maybe wait till this one shows up on a sale rack.
Right, that's right.
It's like remember back in the days when you go into the record store and you'd go dig through the discount bin, like the albums that were like $3.99 and stuff, and you'd be like, I gotta find something. There's got to be something good in here, you know?
Yeah.
And you have to be careful because you can fall down that slippery slope of, I can listen to this. It's only $3.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Robin Thicke's greatest hits. Okay, I'll do it. $3.99.
$3.99.
I know you want it. So I don't even think that's the right lyrics. So Ian has poured our Pilsner here. This is the appropriately named Pilsner. It's from our friends. Actually, they're not our friends. We don't know them, but I think we would be friends at Structures Brewing. Structures is located in Bellingham, Washington. You've had a chance to do some research. What are your thoughts?
This is a nice straightforward lager. This doesn't stand out in any way other than it is, or not lager, but Pilsner. It doesn't stand out any way except for the fact that it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
See, to me, this seems like once you drink this, how could you ever have a macro brew? Like in the same
what I'm saying
vein,
is
right?
this is the epitome of what a Pilsner should be. This is like this is to beer what Wild Turkey is to bourbon. Like Wild Turkey, it gets overlooked all the time because people think, oh, it's cheap. But you know what? It's bourbon. It's really good bourbon.
Right. And it's just solid.
It's the profile
right in the profile.
Bourbon. Yeah. So like this is defining the profile. Also, I like the artwork on here.
Yeah.
I believe this is a hawk. But
either a hawk or a falcon.
You've done some research.
It's got a very hooked beak on it, and it's brown with some.
I can tell you.
tips on
I
the
can tell you
feathers.
how to tell if it's falcon. Ask it if it will eventually become Captain America.
Oh,
If it says yes, then it's a falcon.
And it's a falcon.
If not, it's a hawk. But yeah, no. This is I think it's a very good beer.
are you
As
from
you said,
Washington? Or I'm sorry.
very straightforward. Very straightforward. Like not a lot of. There's no surprises here.
No, this is exactly they built this to the exact specs of a Pilsner. It's like this to me is very much exactly what a Pilsner should be.
And sometimes with the Pilsners, like when you go and try one like at a brewery, you try the Pilsner, and it's got a definite like lingering taste on the finish. Mm-hmm. This does not have that. It kind of closes out crisp.
No, this has a very almost abrupt, but in the best possible way, hop snap to it.
Yeah,
like it just finishes. It dries the palate slightly. Bam, you're ready for your next sip. It's really quite nice.
We have a celebrity spirit alert, and this one's a little tough for me.
I feel like I should have music for that by now, like celebrity spirit alert.
Yeah,
celebrity spirit music.
Celebrity spirit
That's a
music.
good idea.
Terry, make a note. We need
celebrity spirit music.
We need to work on that. So maybe we'll have AI come
because
up
this
with
keeps
something.
happening.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It happens. Seems like it's every week. We have a celebrity spirit or beer or cigar.
I saw 2 this weekend.
Celebrity spirits that you didn't know were there before.
One I
right?
had just heard about a few weeks before, and another one was Danny McBride.
Danny McBride has. See, I didn't think I knew that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Dan Aykroyd and Danny McBride. Those two are
there's
right now.
so many of them out there. This next one's a little bit tough for me because it's one of those things like I'm kind of this way about certain athletes because I have my favorite athletes. Like I'm a Tom Brady fan, right?
Yes.
So I acknowledge how good Patrick Mahomes is of the Kansas City Chiefs, but I never want him to like become so acclaimed that people can say he's better than Tom Brady because I'm a Brady fan and of course Brady's retired, so he can't do much more after this. And in this case, as a Houston, as someone who lives in Houston and who roots for the Houston Rockets, it's hard for me to get excited about Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
He's a damn good. He's a damn good basketball player, but he has
and by all accounts, he's
crushed my hopes and dreams.
Nice person too.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. But he has crushed my hopes and dreams so many times back when the Rockets were actually still more competitive, and they will be again. But that's another story. But
I hate saying that about the Rockets back when they were more competitive.
But they're going to be. They're going to be. This is a really good season going on right now. Not to break out into sports talk.
I was watching a YouTube channel that was talking about just how ridiculously good Hakeem Olajuwon was.
Oh yeah, he was amazing.
He's one of the absolute
and one of
best
the
bigs
nicest
ever been.
people I have ever met.
He was happy to sign my basketball and both the gold dipped Coke bottles that I had from their championship. So was Clyde. I mean, all of those guys have been so nice. Yeah, those guys were awesome.
They were showing Hakeem standing at the basket and legendary players are coming up to shoot and Hakeem just goes no. Like, bam.
That's the way it is. But I can tell you from watching Houston Rockets playoff games, watching Steph Curry crush my hopes and dreams by hitting those 3-pointers, and you're just like, oh man. But the guy's immensely talented, and he's come out with a limited gentleman's cut rye, which is called Player Exclusive. He's a 4-time NBA champion, and his whiskey is designed to commemorate reaching 4,000 career 3-pointers.
Wow.
Yeah. At least
Not 4,000 points.
Yeah, 4,000 threes.
3-pointers.
Yeah. At least 25 of which absolutely made me die a little on the inside. So that's why this is kind of a mixed bag. Yeah. But I do respect what a great athlete he is, what an incredible basketball player. And one of the things I really like about him having a whiskey is if he's drinking the whiskey, he'll have to take that damn teeth guard out of his mouth and stop chewing on it because that annoys the crap out of me. But that's a whole other thing. Anyway, reaching 4,000 threes, he says, is surreal. I never set out chasing numbers, just wanted to change the game, push the limits, and have fun doing it. The release follows the successful launch of Gentleman's Cut Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey back in May of 2023. And this now is a pretty exciting new offering under the Game Changer Bourbon brand, which produces special edition drops under the player exclusive mark. They're restricting it to just 1,000 bottles.
I bet that's going to be crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm guessing it will be. Try $333 on for size.
Wow.
Ouch. Of course, all threes.
I'm just going to point out that cost more than my gold dip Coke bottles, at least before Hakeem and Clyde signed them.
You might have to sell a Hakeem and Clive signed
just to get one
gold dip bottle just to get
Not
one of these.
Not a chance. It's the prize of my collection.
So there you go, Steph Curry. We'll acknowledge his talent and hope that he starts thinking about retiring soon, since the Rockets are coming back.
Yes,
baby, I'm telling you, they're coming back. They're going to be super competitive in the next couple of seasons. I'm just telling you. Get ready. Buy your tickets now because they'll be super ass expensive in like a year.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon also refused to have an expensive shoe made with his name on it.
I think that's kind of cool too. You know,
he had a signature shoe, and I can't remember who made it, but it was not a very expensive shoe.
He was just that guy. You know, he was just like as much of an everyman as you can be when you're 85 feet tall and you can stand at the basket and just nope.
And you say things like unbeatable.
Yeah, gotta love him. All right, so we have more unbeatable drinks to try here coming up on the next segment of the show. I think we'll try us a little bit of a double IPA from Parish Brewing Company. They're sort of like the Hakeem Olajuwon of breweries. I would say that about them. They're fantastic. We'll try them next. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back to Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars.
Oh, those things.
They are wonderful things. Speaking of things that you love, I have this image of you. Every time we start to get closer to summer, as we are now, I have this image in my mind of Ian floating down the river in an inner tube with the world's largest cigar, like just enjoying yourself.
And the darkest beer you could find.
Well, I mentioned like that JFR Lunatic.
Yeah,
you can get that in a 7x70. There's also some cigars you can get in like an 8x80.
Yeah,
and those are cigars that I take for floating down a river because you're going to be stuck on a river for 2.5 hours minimum.
Well, I got a new one for you.
And instead of having to bring cigars and relight them, I just bring a cigar.
Right. I'm only smoking one cigar, honey. Well, if Robustos and double Coronas or even Grandes are a little too small for your taste, I got a cigar for Ian right here. It's Asylum's April Fool's 90 by 9.
I have one.
Yeah, they're 9 inches long, ring gauge of 90, nearly an inch and a half. It doesn't scare me. Thick. You're not intimidated at all.
Not intimidated. I have one. Actually. So our friend Alan Denny gave me one for my birthday last year.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to smoke it yet.
You know, this cigar started out as an April Fool's joke post on Instagram a few years ago, and it actually turned into something fun and interesting.
Really?
According to Christian Arroyo, the owner of CLE Cigars, the company that owns the Asylum brand. He says, this year we're actually launching it before April 1st, so people are going to have it in hand for April Fool's Day. It dates back to 2021, and they've shipped them each year, usually pegging the smokes to the Chinese zodiac calendar. So I may need to sneeze here in a moment, so you might have to take over.
Dude, I have one of these, and it comes in a coffin, too.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it barely fits in my humidor. because my humidor has drawers, so it fits if I put it towards sideways and back towards the back of the drawer and just very gently slide my drawer in. Otherwise, it acts like having like your kitchen drawer that has the potato masher.
Yeah,
so it's like trying to open that.
Yeah.
The gargantuan cigars are made from Honduran tobacco, a lot of Honduran tobacco. On the inside, in Ecuadorian wrappers, they're rolled in Honduras, but rolling such a non-conventional shape has its difficulties. Christian Arroyo says making the molds was hard, talking about the hardware that handmade cigars sit in to give them a uniform and rounded shape. Typically, they hold 10 cigars, but with these massive smokes, a mold can only fit 3.
Whoa.
So the weight of each 90 by 90 says is about 2.4 ounces, roughly the same as 6 Robustos.
Wow.
The Asylum April Fool's 90 by 9 comes in 6-count boxes with a suggested retail price of $45 per cigar. And the box can be used as an ashtray. No kidding. No kidding. Yeah. So there's a cigar to watch for, ladies and gentlemen.
So it started as a joke?
Yeah, started as a joke on
yeah.
Instagram. And then they're like, all right, let's see if we can actually do this thing.
I may have to do a review of that cigar.
I think you totally should.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're going to have to wait a little closer to April Fool's. We're not far from it.
Well, if you do it actually floating down the river.
That would be amazing. That's going to be a little later in the year, though.
But it would be maybe hard for you to remember all of the notes that you were getting.
I would say bring it on one of the shows where you do it at a place, but then that would be the only cigar you could probably smoke during the entire 2-hour show.
You would actually need for us to be doing recording 2 shows back to back.
Usually when I go
what
down
are you
the river,
smoking? Oh, I'm still working on this 90 by 9.
there's almost no relay penalty for a week.
So, have you tried this beer yet?
No, I haven't. It smells good, though.
Parish Brewing Company out of Broussard, Louisiana. One of my all-time favorite breweries. They are great with IPAs as well as other things.
It's very floral.
Yes.
Very floral on the nose. Oh, my God.
It's very floral on the palate, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I'm going to say this in the best way. It's like fresh dandelions.
Yeah.
And,
which is probably why I started to sneeze a moment ago. No, it is like,
oh, it's delicious. It's got
it's
a
like
little,
drinking a meadow.
It's got a little bit of resin, like almost to the back end of it, but just a kiss of it. A little bit of bitter.
You know what Parish has been able to do? They did this with
balance.
Ghost in the Machine and all of its different variants. They have been able to take these big, like enormous, super hoppy IPAs that a lot of people were making during the midst of the IPA craze. They've been able to take that style and make it so much more drinkable, so much more balanced.
This is a little more like what Stone would have made in their heyday. However, in Parish fashion, it has a lot more subtlety to it. You don't think subtlety when you're talking about an IPA this big.
And you don't think subtlety when you're talking about Stone either. You think about them,
right. There's a malt subtlety to this that is so nice. It's like this underlying malty sweetness that just rides underneath the hop.
I wonder why they didn't make this part of the Ghost in the Machine series.
Yeah, so this is not a Ghost.
Just as good, yeah.
But Ghost doesn't have any of the resinous.
You're right. This is a little more
hops.
West Coast than any of the. But they did make the West Coast Ghost.
They did make the West Coast Ghost, but this maybe this is just starts with a whole different mash bill. Maybe it's just a very different thing. This also has a lot of citrus in it. This has a lot of.
I think you're right. I bet all of the Ghost in the Machine.
But this also has
variants,
a lot of dank too. This is.
I bet all the Ghost in the Machine variants though started with the same mash bill and then they changed things.
Yeah.
Whereas this probably started completely.
I would
different.
like to know the story of that. We may have to reach out. This is delicious.
I would love to reach out to those guys because their beers are just exceptional. And then some of the sours and the different things that they make are so unique and different.
When I walk into a brewery, I'm so used to just like looking and bypassing all the IPAs until I find something that's not an IPA. But that would be very different if I was standing at the Parish Brewery.
Right. You're almost looking
because
for
their
the
IPAs are so good. They're so balanced. They're so not predictable. Because that's what you get everywhere else. You get these unbalanced and very predictable IPA versions at a lot of places that, I just skip over them.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't skip over them. I try them all. But I understand what you're saying. Because balance is important.
Give me barley wine or give me barley wines are balanced.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a whole different balance, but they're balanced.
Different balance.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I'm still an IPA guy. I mean, I love trying different ones and comparing them one to the other. But Parish, man, they knock it out of the park with every single
It's amazing.
one.
It's amazing.
It's brilliant.
All right, we got to take a break. We will be back. Hour 2 is on tap, which means String of News is right around the corner. And we're going to try some tequila very soon here on Smoking and Toasting. Yeah. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting.
Oh, I just held up the whole show by playing tequila on the ukulele.
Yeah, and I think
we were listening, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we were all about it, weren't we? We were all about it. All right, so let's talk about things you love to do, which is visit breweries. You visit. How often would you say you visit a brewery? Is it once a month? A couple times a month?
Quite a few times a month, actually.
Okay.
Because there's some great breweries around here, right by where I teach lessons at a place called Bojangles Music School.
Yeah.
Just on the north side of I-10 here in Houston, and there's a brewery called H-Town Brewery right next to it. I was there on Friday. I probably go to a brewery almost once a week here in Houston, at least for something or another.
One of the things I'm excited about is being able to ride my bike to some of the breweries in Edo, because I just got this bike a little while back, so be able to just ride over.
You are literally a short bike ride away from Eighth Wonder, from True Anomaly, from Equal Parts.
Yes, that's the other one I was thinking of. Yeah. And
I think is that all of them over there?
I don't think it's all of them, but it's the ones that come to mind the quickest. Yeah. So, well, Yardbarker, which is a pretty interesting website for a lot of different things, sports and music and all kinds of things. They put together a list of what they say are 20 must-visit breweries in America. So many beers, they say, so little time. These are the ones you got to go to, according to them. So I thought we'd view their list, and then we talk a little bit about what would be on your bucket list and mine, and maybe even out of all the places that we have visited, do we have a favorite? Does one sort of top the charts for us? So we'll get there. First, let's deal with this list of 20. The first one is Samuel Adams Brewery. I have been there, and I agree everyone should go. When I lived in Boston, I was able to go, and it's a wonderful place. And just they make great beers, but also what it means for the history of craft beer. I think it's if you're a beer fan, an aficionado, as it were, it's a place to go. Also been to this one, the Yuengling Brewery in Pennsylvania. How can you not include a stop at America's oldest brewery? It's in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Production began in 1829.
Wow.
Even lasting through the Prohibition era. What they did is they brewed beer that was low enough in ABV that they could keep selling it.
Near beer, yeah. So that's the whole thing.
More of it, yeah.
That is the oldest operating brewery, and it has been in continuous operating.
It's interesting to see how those breweries made it through stuff like that when Pabst did cheese instead of beer or something.
Now, I'm embarrassed to say this next one. I've been to Milton, Delaware, but I have not visited the Dogfish Head Brewery, and I really need to do that. So this next one's a favorite of mine, Sierra Nevada Brewery in California. They're among the most well-known breweries in the country. If you're on the East Coast, don't worry, because they have a tap room in North Carolina.
California knows how to party.
Yeah, so I've heard. In the city of
Compton?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
And the city of Watts.
It's no secret that the New England area is ripe with great beer. Treehouse Brewing is a place to visit if you're up in the New England area. It makes the list. And Stone Brewing, back to California, makes the list as well. I agree with that. I'll get to that in a moment. Founders Brewing Company is on the list. Bell's Brewery is on the list. This is, I think, a pretty solid list because they've named a whole bunch of my favorites here. Trog's Independent Brewery.
I want to go
Trog's. They have some main beers that are well known, like their Troganator Double Bock and their Perpetual IPA, but they say here their seasonal and once-a-year beers are where they really separate themselves, and you would almost have to go there to be able to check those out. The next one is one I'd really like to try in Tampa, Florida, Cigar City Brewing.
Yes.
I just like their name, but I also really, really like their beers. I've been to this one, Allagash Brewing Company in Portland, Maine, a really great brewery. Love those guys. And I've been to this one. This is probably one of my more favorite breweries just because I got to know the people there. And I just was able to absorb their love for beer. And it's Harpoon Brewery in Boston, Mass. They also have a brewery in Vermont as well, in Windsor, Vermont. But I love those guys, and a big shout out to them. Love those guys, love their beer. Pelican Brewing Company is another one that is in Pacific City, Oregon. Southern Tier Brewing Company has become a big national brand as their reach now extends into 30-plus states. They were born in Lakewood, New York, and they now have 5 locations across 4 different states. The next one, really love to go to this one, Brooklyn Brewery.
Is Brooklyn in the house?
I love those guys. I love their beers. And Guinness's Open Gate Brewery. You've been to this one, have you not?
Ish. Yes.
Okay.
Well, so yes, they quit brewing beer by the time I got there, though.
Yeah, which is kind of.
So they moved their brewing to Chicago, right?
Mm.
So the brewery I went to was no longer brewing beer, so I couldn't count it as a brewery, but it was a beautiful facility.
Was it just like a museum to it now, or what?
Kind of, yeah. Okay. I mean, it was busy. They had a restaurant. The food was amazing. The beer was fantastic, of course. And it's beautiful. Like you walk up, that harp is like 20 feet tall, and it's enormous. It's up there. It's and it's gorgeous. But I hesitate to call it a brewery because they don't brew there.
The brewery behind Fat Tire and Voodoo Ranger in Colorado is New Belgium. They are on this list as well, and deservedly so. Brewery Omegang in New York is a Cooperstown-based company that they take the cake, it says in this article, for having the coolest property. So you might check them out. Oscar Blues makes the list. They are on the list largely because of Dale's Pale Ale, but other breweries they have
Blues.
One in North Carolina, one in Colorado. They did have one in Austin.
Yes, I used to go to the one in Austin every time I went to Austin. I loved it.
And this next one, just because of what it means in terms of history is Goose Island Beer Company in Chicago. Unfortunately, the beer isn't what it used to be since they were purchased by Big Beer. Although their seasonal yearly releases still rock. But like Goose Island IPA, I used to love, not a fan anymore. Mm-hmm. It's been, I don't know, watered down is the phrase I want to use.
Here's the whole thing. Sometimes when AB InBev buys a beer, even if they don't change it, it can still leave a bitter taste in your mouth.
That's really well said. Really well said. I know exactly what you mean. And like the Goose Island was just, I mean, those guys were so innovative. They were on the cutting edge. And now they feel like, apart from their yearly releases.
It's like anything else, though. I mean, let me go ahead and point this out. I don't hate on the guy that sold the brewery. Good for him, man. Make your money. You
Agree.
are living the dream, and I think that's amazing.
Go for it.
And I don't even hate AB InBev for buying it. I'm just not a big fan of putting money in AB InBev's pockets.
Agreed.
If I can avoid it.
Agreed. And there's lots of ways to avoid it.
Until they offer me that kind of money. And then I'm totally selling out.
Yeah, but the reason they get that kind of money is because they make cost cuts. And that's probably what did it to them. Yeah. You know, they come into a place like that and they shouldn't touch it. But what do? We'll just save a little here and we'll save a little there. We'll use corn syrup instead of sugar.
Taste in your mouth.
Yeah. So this is probably as good a time as any to announce that AB InBev is actually purchasing Smokin' and Toastin'. So we love their beers. We think they're fantastic. And Terry, I'm sorry, it's been fun working with you.
Budweiser is so good.
That's all a fiction, by the way. That's all a lie. I made a list of I can tell you the favorite brewery that I've ever visited, just brewery, that I've ever visited, and 3 that are on my bucket list. And I asked you to do the same. You want to start?
So my most favorite brewery that I've ever been to, and understand this is an experience, so it's not entirely the beer, it's not entirely the brewery, but also the people I went there with and everything else. Church Brewworks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
No kidding, really?
Is a deconsecrated church, and it is a gorgeous old stone church. Like
cool.
The atmosphere in there is amazing.
Yeah.
The beer was fantastic. Their logo and everything about it was really, really good. My brother-in-law took me there. We had food, we had beer, and it was such a good time. So probably one of my favorite breweries that I've been to. You also said like a wish list. Where would I like to go?
Right. Yeah. I mean, your top 3 bucket list.
You actually named so many breweries that I thought about when I thought about this list.
Yeah.
So
I think all of mine were on there.
I won't even do any honorable mentions. That list was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was.
Right. And a couple of these are, so I'd like to go to the original Guinness Brewery.
The original one in Ireland.
That would be, yes, that would be
super cool.
Yeah, super awesome in the first place.
How good do you think, like, we always talk about what bars can you go to get a really good pour of Guinness. How great do you think the pours are?
Oh, it's got to be amazing,
brewery.
right?
Best.
Yeah, right?
The best.
Yeah, I like it. Good choice.
So next on the list, and not in any particular order, Founders.
Founders.
I just freaking love their beers.
They have such great beers.
It was tough for me to just say Founders because, if I'm already in this part of Michigan, I might as well go over here and try Bell's.
Right. So did they make your list?
Right. No, they didn't make the list, but I want you to also understand that if I'm going to Founders, I'm going to Bell's.
Okay, gotcha. It's a way of sneaking an extra brewery in there.
Just understand that. Right?
I gotcha. And your last one?
And by the way, I was pointing at my hand when I said if I'm going to this part of Michigan. So those of you listening on the radio, you know what I'm talking about.
I used to have a character on when I did the Morning Zoo show. She would call and she would say, "I've had it up to here, Cruz, and I'm pointing at my neck." So that's kind of what you were doing. You're pointing at your hand. Yeah.
So the last one on my list is Yingling's.
Nice.
And here's the thing. I really was thinking about Anchor Steam. Anchor Brewery. And I was thinking a lot about Sam Adams because of the historical and how good the beers are anyway. So Sam Adams but I decided Yingling's being the oldest
would be
operating a brewery.
Yeah. And the fact that they've been able to stay alive all this time.
Yeah, they make brilliant beers. Like their standard lager is outrageously good, and then they make tons of other great beers.
Well, my favorite is one I did not see this one coming until I actually went there. In fact, I went there just because I was in the area, and I was doing like a family reunion thing, and my wife promised me if I would be nice for the family reunion that we would go and visit a brewery. I was like, okay, cool. So the day came for us to go and visit a brewery. And we looked at several that were we were in New Braunfels, Texas. Mm-hmm. We looked at several that were in the general vicinity and decided this one looked interesting. And so we wound up at Guadalupe Brewing Company, which is on the Guadalupe River outside of New Braunfels, Texas. And I came back and raved about this place.
You brought back a few beers that were outstanding.
Yeah, the beers were so good. And the ones that I had that while I was there that I didn't bring back were amazing. The whole layout of the place. And I'm going to tell you, the day my wife and I were there, it was like 102 degrees. It was like ridiculous. Like nobody should even have been outside. And they had these great outside, like cooled areas with mist. They had concert stages, and it was and the great like cactus and plant stuff growing all around. It was beautiful. It was wondrous. And I thought, man, to be here, like once the sun goes down and the temperature goes down a little bit, and just be out here listening to music and enjoying their amazing brews. So that's my favorite brewery that I think I've ever been to. It was a very special place. So if you are ever in New Braunfels, Texas, and you're looking around going, what is this town that I'm in? It's very weird. Go to Guadalupe Brewing Company. It will make
first
your
off,
day.
that whole area of Texas is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Like
it
New
is. It's
Braunfels,
beautiful.
Fredericksburg, Bernie.
Yep.
None of those are spelled the way you think they are.
For people
Bjorn.
that don't know, when Ian
Green.
says he's going to float down the river, that's where
That's
that
all.
is.
Yes, that's where I'm going. By the
Totally.
way,
I
yes.
got
That's where that is.
So my top 3 bucket list, ones that I have not been to, but I really want to. We already talked about this one on today's show, Parish Brewing Company in Broussard, Louisiana. We have to set something up to go there soon because I just love what they do with beer. I want to find out what their facility is all about. The next one might surprise you. We've had their beers on here a number of times, but not in a while. Bare Bottle Brewing out of San Francisco, California. Yeah. They make some of the best IPAs that I've ever tasted, and they're not just IPAs, but it's something they kind of specialize in. And I don't know anything about them. I'd love to go investigate. And finally, and this one just because of the history, I know they're owned by Big Beer now, but Stone Brewing. Stone.
I thought about that one too, and I got kind of knocked it out
because they totally mean innovation in beer based on their history, and I love that. So that's my bucket list. If you got bucket lists, feel free to send them to us. We'll be happy to read them on the air. The email address is SNT, that's the letter S, the letter N, the letter T, at rfcmedia.com. Send us your bucket list and make sure to include your name and where you're from, and we will be happy to share your bucket list and your favorite brewery that you've ever been to. We're happy to share it here on the program. All right, speaking of the program, we got drinking news coming up. We also got some tequila to try, which Ian's already poured and we haven't tasted yet. We will do that next on Smoking and Toasting. The amazing Gulf Coast soul of the Suffers on Smoking and Toasted. It is our program all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Speaking of fine spirits, we're trying some Anejo tequila or some tequila Anejo, depending on how you like to say it, on today's program. I just want to mention, by the way, last time that I was invited for a party over to our tequila expert, Liliana Rodriguez's house, she's got all these bottles of tequila she's never opened that are up on her display, and I'm like, you got to invite me over more often because we could do some damage up in here. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Wow.
Speaking of doing damage, how we doing on this?
And she
Bayo?
doesn't consider herself an expert,
right?
And she just has all of
she
that
has more
sitting
tequila.
around the house.
She has more tequila than any other single person I know, and I know lots of tequila people.
Yeah.
Bayo is the name of this tequila añejo that we are trying here. Ian, I see you staring at the bottle contemplatively.
Well, I was just kind of looking at it. It's coming in 40%, made in Mexico, small batch, Anejo tequila, 100% de agave. Assume it's blue agave. Does that make it a blue Bayou? It's spelled Bayo, by the way.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's why I keep making the joke. It's a cool looking bottle. It's got a little, like a medallion embossed into the front of it too.
I will just tell you the one I had to really go some to give this tequila a fair shake because it arrived with wax completely covering all of this, which is fine. I'm cool with that. I like wax covered bottles. But it flaked off in little tiny pieces, and it took me like 20 minutes to get into the bottle. I was not happy until I tasted the tequila, and then all was forgiven because I think this is actually
Well, I did notice,
good.
Yes, you got past the wax and plastic layers.
I did. Well,
and then
can
you
you
cleared the neck to
imagine?
make sure we didn't have any spillage.
Can you imagine if I had not done that, and we'd be sitting over here with little flaky wax everywhere and still not tasting the
I mean, I would
tequila?
have cut through it with my knife. But
This is one of the reasons
We got Crocodile Dundee
that
over
we
there,
do
so,
this. What do you think about this?
It's delicious.
Yeah.
This is peppery. It's got a beautiful oaky note that just lingers that I absolutely love. Also, it's got some
Oak and vanilla.
you
but
get
pepper.
obviously you get the agave right up front, but you also get that vanilla. You get that that oaky astringency going on, and it's got a pepper kind of backbone to it that I really enjoy.
And pepper on the finish too. You get that.
But it's very peppery, but it's not like it never gets sharp. It just somehow
Correct.
something tamps it
It's
down.
not
Just
spicy
constant.
peppery.
Yeah.
Right. When I think of peppery tequila, I think of like Hornitos,
Yes.
Anejo.
That's really
which is
peppery,
good,
yes.
but it's really like pepper almost
Yeah.
dominates it.
Yeah.
And this pepper is there, and you get it on the finish, but it doesn't take over the tequila.
oak-
This
the
is
vanilla
not
somehow.
a pepper that makes you go, I wonder what that is. It's definitely pepper,
Yeah.
but it's the essence of pepper. It's kind of like when you drink a sparkling water that has no
Yeah.
sweetener and has the flavor. Like
little
you
bit
get
of
the
flavor.
flavor, but you're not getting like
Yes.
yeah. This has
Right.
the essence of that pepper
It's
in
very
it.
clean
Yes.
with the pepper.
Without,
Clean
without
agave
being
with the pepper.
without being spicy or having a bite like you said.
This is a $29.
Are you serious?
bottle.
This is
Really?
outrageously good,
Yeah.
especially at
Wow.
$29.
For
Yeah.
$29, that
Which
is amazing.
And I bought it for this week's show because I'm kind of a cheap bastard, and but I thought it'll be interesting to see because we've had a number of Anejo tequilas on here recently that have been $60, $70,
And quite good at that.
And
This
quite
this
good,
is
yeah.
really, really nice.
very competitive with
It's
those.
nice.
I think.
Really
It
is.
also finishes really clean with a very mineral kind of aftertaste that I really enjoy, like a good clean mineral water, like an Evian or one of those kind of things.
Right, I agree. It's got a sophistication that would not make you think. If you brought this out and poured it for me, I would not go, oh yeah, that's a $28, $29, $30
Absolutely
tequila.
not.
I would be thinking that it is definitely worth.
And now
more
that I'm
than that.
thinking about it, very little heat,
Right.
and a delayed heat at that. Very
One of the
little.
things that I hope we can do here from time to time on the show is bring you some of these lesser priced tequilas, because I feel like what has a tendency to happen is if they're really good, like this one is, they don't remain in the $28, $30 range for
Right.
long. You come back here 6 months from now and they're $38.
Yeah.
And
You start jumping up.
climbing. I remember when that happened to Skelly. Well,
Yeah.
first bottle of Skelly I want to say that I bought was $28, and now it's almost $100.
Wow.
So it just goes to show
Same
you
juice,
that there's
same skeleton, same
Yeah.
cowboy hat,
Yeah.
sombrero.
and same tequila, and it's damn good. I mean, I'm not even saying it's not worth $100.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man, I love when I can
When
buy
it
it
was
for
right.
28. Yeah, I have at our house. My wife and I have this sort of metal thing that's above one of the door jambs going into the bedroom, and it has hanging from it the sombreros from the different Skellies that we bought. And I have to say, the vast majority of them were bought before it was above $35. It was slowed down a little on that expensive Skelly here on the program. All right, we have to take a break, but guess what, my friends? This tequila is wonderful, and drinking news is next. And those things seem to like tie in together somehow and work with each other. And so we'll bring you more of that when we come back. It's Smoking and Toasting, brought to you by our overlords, AB InBev. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. You all right over there? Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our
Knocking
show
my
is
mic around with
Our
my
show is
feet
all about
already.
craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And speaking of fine spirits, I just can't say enough about how great this $28 bottle of tequila is.
Pretty darn good.
Bayo Tequila Anejo.
It's
and I
okay
haven't even
by me if it's okay by you.
Bayo. I haven't even tried the Reposado and the Blanco, but they exist as well, so they're worth trying. One of the things I enjoy doing in the tequila aisle while I'm walking around noticing how expensive some of my favorites have become is finding things like this that are still kind of brand new or under the radar that haven't maybe earned their right. And there are plenty of new tequilas that come out. Ones that I'm seeing for the first time, and their añejo is $110.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, I
How do you
get
start
it, but,
that way, right?
Well, and me as a consumer, and I love añejo tequila, and I'm willing to pay. I'll still buy Reserva de la Familia, even though it's $148, because I know how good it is.
Yeah.
But I'm not sinking $110 on it might be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the things about the show is we want to bring you the ones that we try that we think, okay, maybe we can tell you about it so you'll know.
I feel like I can take a real good chance, right up to $50 without.
Yeah, $50 is sort of where
too much. And
Sure.
even though $50 is not a nothing price,
yeah,
I will spend more than that at a bar.
sure, absolutely.
You know, like real quick and easy.
And I will just say, we will occasionally spend more than that on something just so we can tell you guys about it. It was an $80 bottle. Is it worth it? You know,
And sometimes
we'll
it
there.
isn't. You know, sometimes
Right.
it may be good,
Right.
but $80 might be a little more. You know, I don't know. This is outrageously
So
good.
that's why I'm telling you Bayo or Boyo or whatever you want to call it.
Bayo.
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 Bio.
Blue Bayo.
Blue Bayou. All right, folks, we can't delay it any longer. It's time for drinking news.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news, drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Rowdy Yates on the Gator line, by the way.
Rowdy.
And I just want to
Nobody has a voice like that.
I just want to send out a shout out to Rowdy, who was recently inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Country Radio Hall of Fame.
Country Radio Hall of Fame?
Big deal.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
big deal. Recognized as a talent and somehow likes our show. we don't know what happened, but it's all right. We'll take it. Well, we have had no confirmed reports of this, but here at Drinking News, we still suspect that someone must have taken a large quantity of the water from Florida and poured it into the municipal drinking supply of the city of Memphis in Tennessee. That is our working theory, at least, as to why recent reports of men in Tennessee acting like Florida man seem to be happening. Well, just last week, 5 Tennessee men were arrested for obstructing traffic when they drove their 2016 Chevy Malibu into an intersection and then got out and started twerking. According
This is a what do they call that when
a flash mob, a twerking flash mob.
yeah.
Instagram post.
Twerking flash mob.
According to Memphis police, 4 of the men were twerking around the car, while a 5th climbed onto the hood to do his own special dance.
Amazing.
The not-so-private dancers, who ranged between 18 and 22 years old, were escorted to a holding cell, and it was discovered that one of them already had a warrant out for his arrest for vandalism.
Oh.
So, can you imagine, though, like, the conversations in jail?
What are you in here
Say,
for?
yeah, what are you in for? Robbery. How about you? Assault. And you, sir? Twerking. I've gone into detail in this program before about how I just really don't get the whole twerking thing. I mean, I don't understand why shaking your butt all around like a jack-in-the-box on meth is supposed to be sexy. I really don't think that is what the immortal KC and the Sunshine Band had in mind when they exhorted us to shake, shake, shake your booty. But hey, at least these booty shakers can all definitively claim that their twerking display literally stopped traffic. So go on with your bad self.
Does it count
Were
if
they
you stop the
standing?
car, though, in front of traffic?
Were they standing in the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go on with your bad selves, guys. Although you might not want to shake it like a Polaroid picture while you're in the jail cell. Just a thought.
And you might want to come up with a different, like Eddie Murphy in Trading Places,
Yeah.
like, no, I was here for beating someone up kind of
Right,
thing.
exactly. But elsewhere in the volunteer state, our main story today here on Drinking News reminds me of a joke that I think I first heard from my father. Yep, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for a Drinking News dad
A
joke.
dad joke.
Dog walks into a bar with a 6-shooter on his hip and scans the room, taking in every face, before finally announcing in his best Southern dog drawl, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paw." Now, I'm guessing that if I told you that was actually one of my dad's better jokes, you'd probably believe me, and you'd be right. But that's not important right now, because we have a serious story involving a dog and firearms. So brace yourself for the story of a Tennessee man who wound up in the hospital recently as the victim of what we can only describe as man's best friendly fire. Yes, our victim.
Don't teach your dog how to shoot.
Our victim from Memphis, Tennessee, was shot by his dog, a friendly pit bull named Oreo. The man was apparently asleep in bed next to his girlfriend with a loaded pistol between them. You know, like we all do, right?
Right.
Because that's where you keep your loaded pistol at night.
Oreo, who was most likely seriously in need of a journey to his favorite bush outside to relieve himself, was not having it with our Tennessee man sleeping in while the poor pup so desperately needed to go outside and see a man about a horse. So he jumped up on the bed, at which time his paw became stuck in the trigger guard of the gun.
Oh.
Now, we've all seen what happens when a dog gets something as simple as a piece of Scotch tape stuck to their foot,
We've
right?
watched that on Facebook and Instagram. It's hilarious.
Yeah. They start shaking it around, sort of like a Polaroid picture, wildly trying to dislodge the
It's
item.
always back to Andre 3000.
Yeah, that's right. As it should be, by the way. So they try to wildly dislodge the item, and that is exactly what Oreo did. Wow. And you can imagine what happened next. The gun went off, shooting the Tennessee man almost point blank.
Wow.
Ouch.
Now, there are probably worse ways to be woken up than a bullet to the leg.
Ooh.
But I honestly can't think of any right now.
I mean, that will wake you up, though.
Yeah.
Hey, he's lucky it went to the leg.
I can't really think of any right now, which saves you guys from what you might, probably thought was going to be one of my infamous lists of things that would be worse, right? So while you may not have to suffer that particular indignity, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're off the hook. You see, this story of dog shoots man has left me just a little bit inspired. And as regular listeners to this program know what that means. When I become inspired, I like to express myself, often by writing a few lines of poetry or prose. Now, if you're listening in Texas, please skip ahead, because a judge here in the Lone Star State has expressly forbidden me to share these poetic ramblings with you. For everyone else, I'd like to recite my poetry for you at this time. If I could get a little poetry reading music, please.
I have to create mood.
And it goes a little something like this. A pit bull, while watching the clock, got his paw stuck right in a Glock. When the bullet did fly, it woke up the poor guy, and the dog shot him right in the lower part of his leg near his sock. I apologize.
Shot you in the body or something.
I apologize. Clearly, the last line of the poem needs some work. Just because I get inspired doesn't necessarily mean I'm any good at writing these. Even famous authors struggle with their writing sometimes. Even Ernest Hemingway was originally going to title his revered story, The Old Man and the Sea, something like The Old Man and That Stupid-Ass Marlin Who Ruined His Life. So, yeah, sometimes a rewrite is in order. I'll work on it. In the meantime, reporting live from Memphis, where this man's lucky he was shot by his dog and not his cat, because the cat would have aimed for his head. You cat owners know what I'm talking about.
Cats know what they're doing.
My name is Cruz, and that is your
Drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all.
What why the gun in between you and your lady in the middle of the night all
night? In case she wants to get frisky. You don't want to have to deal with that, right?
What is happening? What part of town? I mean, we live in Houston. You live in downtown. I live in one of the biggest parts of Houston that, I mean, I'm sure HPD visits regularly. I do not even have one in the house. How do we need one?
Well, I have one, but it doesn't, sleep between my wife and me.
That's what I'm saying. How do you need one at the ready? Like, what life are you living that you need one at the ready?
I have one next to the bed.
I mean, I get that. Next to the bed, in a drawer.
You want that, between you and your lady, because you never know when you're going to hear maintenance. Because that could be anything, right? That could be the maintenance guy.
Could be.
If I get that happening in my house, I know something's going to be up.
Right. Yeah, you have an actual house. Yeah, you don't live in it.
Yeah. Ian, it's your landlord. I'm here to do maintenance. Yeah. Oh, dude, no, I know this was a fake one. But it's a little scary sometimes where people choose to put their firearms.
Like, why?
Yeah. Why did you really need it right there?
I mean, right by my front door in the umbrella stand is a Red Ryder BB gun.
See, that's great.
And it's loaded.
Yeah. See, but I have a dog, and he's a pit bull and lab. He's half pit, half lab, and he does jump up on the bed, regularly, and we'll find a place to sleep. And I just can't, I can't imagine not knowing that your dog would do that, because if you have that, the dog's not gonna look around for a gun.
Why wouldn't it be under your pillow?
Yeah. And we all know exactly what it looked like when the dog got his paw stuck in the trigger guard, right? They're shaking it around like crazy. Of course, look, I will tell you guys, I've been a gun owner for about a year. And I've gone to the shooting range, and I'm a really good shot. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm nailing that target like crazy. So if anyone ever breaks into my house, as long as they give me a good 45, 50 seconds to sight on them and line up the shot, they're toast, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. If they just hold still.
Yeah. If you, excuse me, I know you came here to rob me, but could you hang on just a second?
When I say don't move.
I'm trying to sight you down here. Yeah. Yeah. That's my gun owning.
Yeah. But your dog just know. Like, I just know that you should just know that's going to happen.
One thing you learn, though, when you become a gun owner is those TV shows where the crooks come in and they hold the gun sideways and they do, that's a bunch of BS.
Oh, yeah.
That is.
Have you ever seen the YouTube videos of people shooting guns like that and it comes back and hits them in the forehead? That's the best.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
That's like on this season of Reacher when he challenges that enormous guy to an arm wrestling match, and he's like pulling the arm and then he lets go and the guy hits himself in the head. It's wonderful. Beautiful stuff.
Now, we all do remember, or at least I remember, the Simpsons episode where Homer got a gun and he did everything with the gun, like open the fridge and open the couch. He carried the gun around to do everything.
To this day, though, my favorite Simpsons thing is still Homer disappearing into the hedge. Yeah. That is like the most beautiful.
When he just backs slowly,
slowly into the hedge. That's how I feel sometimes by the time we get to this particular segment of Smoking and Toasting. We're going to disappear into the hedge with a little bit of Imperial Stout coming up next in our final segment here. It's Smoking and Toasting. It just backing slowly. And you can't see me anymore. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. I'd just like to point out that Ian opened up the beer, our final beer here, with a Goose Island IPA bottle opener. Kind of a cool thing.
I did. Yeah. I got that when we went to. Remember, we went to an event over
that
on
used
Discovery
to be
Green.
Yes, I remember that. That used to be a wonderful beer. It really did. I'm not as big a fan of it anymore as I used to be. but it used to be wonderful. We'll see, though, how we feel about a little Clifton. This is an Imperial Stout that has been aged.
Clifton is named after a place, as they have a little picture of a little town.
I'm guessing so. But this has been aged, I believe, in bourbon barrels, and it's pouring out like motor oil.
I love it.
Pouring the first.
The viscosity of this.
Oh yeah, this is. I almost feel like you could turn this cup upside down and it would just stand.
There's an
like Jello,
like the Dairy Queen when they
there's
do
an occasional lumpiness in it.
Yeah. Oh, you love that. You
These
love
are good
chunks
signs.
in your beer. You love chunks in your beer. This is an Imperial Stout. Aslin Beer Company is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they say that this is an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels and conditioned on vanilla.
Oh,
so already this sounds like my kind of thing.
Beautiful.
And then it's 11.5%, which sounds like Ian's kind of thing. So, this should be.
It smells beautiful.
Oh boy, it does. I love the vanilla on the nose.
It is conditioned by vanilla. It is conditioned by.
I love
see,
vanilla.
crazy. It says Aslin Beer Company, Alexandria, Virginia.
Wait, so 2 places?
No, see, I thought it was Pittsburgh, PA. Was I confused about that, or?
Well, the bottle says brewed and bottled by Aslin Beer Company, Alexandria, Virginia.
Very interesting. Okay.
/ Herndon, Virginia. Neither place is Clifton. I wonder if Clifton has to be a town. That's
All I can think of is Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
So I'm searching Aslin Beer Company and seeing the same logo, and it says Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So an homage to the great Ymir Jagr.
This is good.
It really is.
Yes.
They're at 1801 Smallman Street in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. According to
This has so much maple syrup.
Maple syrup, almost non-existent carbonation.
Yeah.
There's virtually none. And vanilla, which as the
Ton of vanilla.
bare naked ladies who, are from Canada, so we used to like them, but now we hate Canada. So bare naked ladies once told us that vanilla was the finest of the flavors, if you recall that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, why does it make ice cream look so light, but it makes beer look so dark? This has a mouthfeel of
Motor oil?
Of slightly thinned glue.
Sludge. I was going to say
it's beautiful,
sludge.
though. I love it. I absolutely
It is
love it.
really super tasty.
You know when the kids make slime out of glue and detergent?
Is that what it's made out of?
Yes, a lot of it is glue and detergent, like one other thing. But yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like glue and
Glue and
detergent.
detergent and this Clifton beer.
And this is a little bit of this beer. This beer is fantastic.
It really is. This is as tasty. This is almost like a dessert.
You know, it's funny because a lot of times when we get beers that are this big and this like barrel aged and everything, we get a lot of like almost barley wine kind of notes from it, like the date and the raisin.
This is not that.
It doesn't really have that. Yeah, this is very different. This is very straight up kind of stout, coffee flavors, vanilla,
But vanilla, big time.
and then it's really really nice.
You can't overstate the amount of vanilla this brings.
you
It's
cannot.
just like big time.
And then a maple syrup kind of thing to it as
Yes.
well. I would definitely have this over pancake. I mean, with pancakes.
Yeah, you can almost pour this over pancakes and be just.
Dude,
all
look
you
at how
need,
it
no
pours
syrup
out of
needed.
there.
Yeah, it pours out like it's honestly like motor oil pouring out into the.
I gotta like tap the back of the bottle.
But you're right. This is like a dessert. I mean, after a good steak and tater dinner, man, you have something like this. That's great.
Oh yeah, man.
I am digging this. This is fan. So really, we've had some great beers. We had a very crisp and wonderful
Very
Pilsner.
straightforward Pilsner.
Yep,
Yes.
to start things off. We had an IPA that just killed, I thought, from the guys in Broussard, Louisiana at Parish Brewing. And now this from Aslin Brewing Company, the Clifton Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. You can pick up a little of that, boozy bourbon barrel thing on the mid palate
Yes.
as you drink it.
11.5%. It's pretty big. It's so
All right,
good though.
Aslin Beer Works. I think we raved about the last thing we had of theirs too. So these guys are slowly climbing in that, they have not ever done us wrong. They've done us really, really right. And it's been a good thing.
Yep.
So they are definitely something to check out. This is about a $35 bottle of beer, by the way. So it wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Is
it available readily?
Good.
Or is it available readily around here? Or is
Not
this
sure.
online?
I think I got this online.
Okay,
so
Yeah. It is, however, this is one of those beers where $35 for a bottle of beer. Well, it's 500 milliliters first off, but second off, look at the conversation it starts. Look at how we all just sit around and enjoy it.
And talk about what it means, what the different flavors mean. Yeah, this is not just like open it up and drink it by yourself. This is have it with friends, have it with people that you can enjoy talking about it with.
Yes.
Or pour it in my Camelback so that when I'm on the river, I can just
I can see
put
you
the
do
straw
that.
in my mouth.
With your 9x90 cigar.
9x90 cigar.
And I can see you with the, you'll have the hat, which is like the 2 beer cans.
Hey, man.
Instead of the beer can, you'll have the bottle.
Two bombers.
Upside down.
Two bombers, right?
Yeah.
Well, I buy into the whole everything's big in Texas thing, right?
I heard you. Well, this has been super fun. Want to mention a couple of quick things. First of all, thanks to our special guest from last week, Tom Painter from No Label Brewing Company. Tom, such a cool and awesome guy. Always awesome to have him on the show. And thanks to No Label for
fantastic.
For being our show beer sponsor for this month on the program. We also want to let you know that the beverage mystery music is called The Visitor. It's from Shane Ivers, at chosic.com. And we also want to let you know that we have some pretty fun things coming up. Ian, anything you want to tip
is the
our hat
background
to?
on your iPad, is it 3 hot chili dogs?
It is 3 hot chili dogs, yes. That my wife made me, and I just took a picture of them because it's inspiring.
I got to tell you, especially after the show, it looks so good.
Look at that. Look how great that looks. That is awesome. My wife made those, and I ate them. It's just an absolutely wonderful
It brings
thing.
a tear to my eye when you tell that story.
That's like next week we're on location at Vinyl Draft Social Club in Kemah, Texas. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, we've done a few shows there. Doug Meisinger is such a great host. We're also going to have Trey Andrews from EPC is going to be there with us.
The last time we were there is when we met the guy from Stallone Cigars.
Tony Barrios was there. Yeah, so I'm reaching out to him to get him back.
And dude, EPC, those guys rock. So we'll look forward to that. Have a great week, my friends. Enjoy your smokes, enjoy your drinks, and cheers,
y'all.
Your smile, lovely, still lovely, yeah. But it's that guy.